Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to Wisdom Within. I'm so excited to have you here. I am live from Ubud right now, and I've just finished my yoga and tantra teacher training. I have so much to share, and I'm going to definitely be recording a solo episode very soon. But firstly, enjoy this episode with Ashley the Alchemist, talking about all things career transformation and fulfillment. And we also dive into mediumship and connecting with your intuition and spiritual gifts. Make sure you watch till the end on this one because we actually get a sneak preview of a demo of connecting with a medium. And for those who have not had a session with a medium, I think it'll be very powerful for you to be able to witness this. So enjoy, so much love, and we'll talk soon. Bye! Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of Wisdom Within. I'm here with the amazing Ashley. And yeah, I'll just let her introduce herself, say hello. Maybe just you can start by talking a bit about what you do with
Yeah,
your clients currently.
yes. Well, hello, everyone. Hello, Talia. Thank you so much for having me. My name is Ashley. I am Ashley the Alchemist, and I'm a career fulfillment coach, and I help women alchemize their careers and find clarity in their purpose. So I basically guide women to their own inner wisdom, their own intuition, and have them understand what that sounds like, what that looks like, so that they can follow their own inner guidance to be able to figure out what is their dream career or what their purpose is, and if that isn't a career, or how to really bring this purpose out in what they do, in the work that they do, in the
Yeah.
service that they do.
Wow, that is such a beautiful gift to give people. It's such a beautiful journey to go on.
Yeah.
And also, it's a hard journey too, because not only is it having courage to change things externally, but a lot of it is just about stepping into your confidence
Yeah.
and listening to that inner call. So obviously there's so many different ways that you guide people through that, I'm sure, but what are the most powerful ways that you help women connect with their intuition and really like step into that bigger calling?
It's really about getting to the root first. What I do is I really follow the wisdom of the owl spirit animal. I'm wearing a little owl actually to to represent that energy today. Um, the owl is here as a guide to show you, how to get through the darkness into the light, because they can see through the darkness. Um,
Mm,
they represent inner wisdom and clarity as well in that darkness. And so, what a lot of people tend to want to avoid in this journey is their own darkness, their own
mm,
shadows. And that is where all the transformation, all of the alchemy happens, is getting comfortable with that darkness, knowing it, understanding where it comes from, the root of it, and why it's there. And through that journey of being in your own shadow, you find the light. And that is your own inner light. That is the light that has been within you the entire time. It's never left. And
mm,
it has been waiting for you to see it and to recognize it. Everyone has a light, everyone has wisdom, everyone is here for a purpose, and everyone here is meant to do something. It is the conditioning, the fears, the limiting beliefs, and anything that really holds us back. That is what disconnects us from our own light and our own intuition. And so
mm,
the whole first part of the program, which is called Owl, is to get you through those shadows. And I basically act as your guide here to like basically hold your hand through that, because that's what I needed. when I was
Mm.
going through my own shadows, and I spent my entire life uh, avoiding uh, that part of myself. I couldn't accept it. It was terrifying.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I was coached myself that I was able to meet my shadow and accept it because it's a part of who I am. And I can still be loved. I can still be accepted. I'm still enough. I'm still worthy to have, you know, the kind of life, the kind of career that I want. And it was just about self acceptance the entire time.
What a gift to the world. So thank you for doing that for people. And maybe we can now go into a bit about your journey,
Yeah,
because I'm sure, as you just touched on there, is that this was something you went through yourself.
yeah.
So where did it all begin?
Growing up, I wasn't really ever encouraged to be myself, really. I am a I'm a Manny Gen. I have a lot of energy.
Me too.
Yes. Yeah. You're a Manny Gen too?
Yeah.
Ah, I love that. I love that. Yes. And yeah, so you get it. A lot of energy, a lot of like variety that we need. We could do a lot of different things at once. And um I never really understood that energy when I was younger.
Yeah, I just wanted to hop in and say that for those of you who don't know what we're talking about, it's just human design. And if you haven't heard of human design or got a reading, like go get one, go look up what you are. All you need is literally your birthday and your birthplace, I think. And it's such a powerful way to learn how to live according to your design. And as Ashley's going to probably talk about here, is that once you learn your design and learn how to live by it, you're so much more accepting of who you are and learn how to really like optimize yourself based on the way that you are designed to function.
Beautiful explanation and definition there. Manny gens are usually very energetic. They have a lot of interests, and yeah, and as a child, that can be very scary for a parent if they don't recognize it. At least for mine, throughout my years, I had all this energy. I had all these things I wanted to do, but I was basically conditioned to believe that like I can't do that. Like there was danger almost. Like me being myself, um, it would like affect my own survival, if that makes sense. Because I was always told that what I was doing was very dangerous, which it was sometimes, not all the time, but it was. I understood it, from like a parent's perspective.
This is something really important to pick up on. A
Yeah,
is that if you're a parent, go get your child's human design done because that way you can understand and learn how to parent in order for your child to flourish. Number two is that a lot of the time we can like come to an understanding and acceptance through seeing that our parents were just wanting to keep us safe in the best way that they knew how.
exactly. And so with that, I was really again taught that I had to always do the safe thing. My parents really pushed law school onto me for most of my life. And I had this fear. I never really was given this space to explore the way that I wanted to. And so I didn't think that there was anything I could really do. I had all these different interests, but I would always be told growing up, like, that's not going to make you any money. Like, why would you do that? I do think we need more women and minorities in law school. And I would always be told, we need people who look like you and, who are you to go to law school to make these changes. And I was motivated by that, but I knew deep down that it was just not for me. I was not the right person for it. Like I could have maybe done it, but I would have been miserable, like
Yeah.
totally miserable because it just wasn't me. So I studied political science in college, and then I found entrepreneurship as like a minor. It was like I just lit up entirely, and I just kind of decided after I graduated from college, I was like, you know what? I'm not going to law school. I'm going into marketing because I was still scared of doing something entrepreneurial, but I wanted to do something more creative. I really struggled with like telling my parents that. They were like, "What do you mean?" And we had like we had an argument about it, because they were like, "What do you mean? You were on this path and you're switching all of a sudden?" So I worked so hard to get a job in marketing. I ended up getting a job like 3 months after graduating. I did very well. Like I ended up getting promoted after a year. I got to do really cool things. I, you know, did a lot of events in New York City. I worked with different sports teams. I worked with the Mets. I worked with the Miami Heat. Got to travel for work. And on the outside, I looked as if I was doing very
Mm.
well, but internally I was still miserable. I still dealt with everything that like I think young women experience in the workforce. Mean older coworkers, toxic work environment. Yeah, I think the universe really put a lot of challenges and trials and tribulations in my path so that I could then be able to help other people through those experiences. And although it was very tough, it led me to coaching, and I just found that Dharma Coaching Institute, which I know you're familiar with. I saw it on
Yes.
social media and I was like, oh my God, that was the first time I had like a bodily reaction to doing something. When I started the entrepreneurship minor, I was very lit up by it. But with coaching, it was like a pull. Like I couldn't say no to it. And I felt that lit up feeling and that expansion, but it was like my body was like leaning me towards just like signing up for it. I've never invested in myself like that before. So I was like, what is going on? What is this? Um, and coaching is what helped me realize all of these different things about myself, allowed me to be who I am and meet people who accept me for who I am, and taught me about what my own purpose is and what I'm meant to do in life. And I've never been more certain of my path ever.
Mm.
I've never been more confident in what I do ever. And that's really how I ended up here. It helped me quit my job and take the leap with my coaching business and create Owl and become, Ashley the alchemist.
I think there's so much to be learned from sharing stories in general, and in your story, I could relate to so much of that. And the first thing I wanted to elaborate on is what Dharma is, because a lot of people don't know what it is.
Yes. So it's basically the Sanskrit word for your purpose. So with Dharma Coaching Institute, it is a program that helps you learn how to coach people to find their purpose, to find their dharma, and that's really how they vocalize it. So
Mm.
within the program, it's very interesting, as we learn to help others find their purpose. We're also learning our own dharmas and what we're meant to do and what that looks like, so that then we can set this example for future clients.
Yeah, and I think this is something that I wanted to elaborate on next, is that like a lot of the times, as you were saying, when something is presenting itself as a problem or something that's really challenging for you, it's so powerful to be able to look at this like, yeah, this is really hard, but like, what is this preparing me for? How am I gonna be in the position one day where I'm helping someone because I've been through this?
Yes, yes, exactly.
And I think the more we can start to look at life like that and seeing things as happening for us,
Hmm.
the more easier it is to get through them because we have this like deeper knowing.
Yeah, and it's so hard to do in the moment. Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's so hard to do, but
Yeah.
um, I have learned as I've taken this path, I have learned that everything that I have been experiencing, um, even the smallest of problems, I end up, it's crazy how synchronistic it works. I'll go through something and then my client needs help with that exact thing. Um, and it's really confirming for me that, as a coach, it's getting comfortable with managing, problems in life, and getting comfortable being in that role because your life's work is to be of service and to help others and to guide them. So you can't live this, you know, this perfect life as a coach, and it's important to recognize that like all of the things that you go through only leads you to this like light where like life really does feel so beautiful. And of course there's going to be moments where, you know, because it's still life, we're still going to go through these moments of like ups and downs, but everything that you are learning is only making you stronger. It's only making you more resilient and more wise.
Mm.
And it's insane because the things that you go through, it's like that becomes a way for you to a way to work for yourself, and you don't always think about it in that way. You're kind of like, this is how life life just handed me this, and life could feel unfair, and you know and I think it's about recognizing that yes, what happened, to you may have been unfair. What happened to you may have been wrong. And to allow yourself to sit in that and sit in that feeling of, you know, I didn't deserve that. And let those emotions come out, and let those more negative emotions. And I do this because those when we think of negative emotions, we think of almost like pushing those emotions away because they're negative, when in actuality, those emotions are trying to show you something about yourself, and tell you about yourself. So if you feel sad about something, or if you feel angry about something, that's a message for you.
Yeah.
Anger shows you where your boundaries have been crossed. Sadness shows that you care very deeply about something.
Mm.
And so, looking at the message of these negative emotions so that then you can alchemize these emotions into something that relates to a more positive emotion and like allows you to be in this space where you can see the lesson, and the message behind it. But you don't have to be there right away, but just know that there always is a message behind it.
Yeah, exactly. Even when you're in a place where you don't see it, just
Yeah.
like having awareness of the possibility of that. Like there's still things that I'm going through now and I have no idea where this is leading me at
Yeah.
all.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, we'll just see what happens, like, you know? And I
Yeah.
think what you were sharing just about, yeah, just like not knowing what you want to do and feeling this pressure from your parents, it's like something that I still face now. And I think it was really interesting what you said about how you felt like you should do law because there needs to be more women of color, and diversity in that. And that brought up for me that I feel like a lot of the time we feel like obliged to do something, and
Yes.
it might be an ethical drive, but
Yeah.
actually, like, that's why understanding your dharma is so important, like where your higher service is, because you can be doing something that's ethically a great job
Yes.
and like is a good thing, but like if it's not what you're meant to be doing, if it's not like doesn't align with your unique gifts, then it's not going to feel good, even if you're doing good through it.
Yes. Oh my gosh, you just explained that so well. Yeah, there was such an inner conflict there because I could see, how much service I could do in that role. And I knew that like, people like me that look like me and think like me probably need to be more in those roles. But um, it was really hard for me to get over this guilt of like not feeling called to that at all and not wanting to like serve in that way. Um,
Yeah.
and I put this burden on myself, that I needed to be at that point. Otherwise, I was not going to be able to be of service in the way that I wanted to. Um, and being of service is generally everyone everyone's purpose is related to being of service in some kind of way. And so it is something that I really, really struggled with. But the moment that I just let it go, it was like a weight was just taken off of like my shoulders. And it was like such a relief. And I think that's an emotion that we need to pay attention to when we feel relief that we don't have to do something. That is a signal that you are doing the right thing, for your.
Yeah. And more generally, like what you were saying about feeling that pull, feeling yourself being lit up, it's so
Yeah.
important to like pay attention to like how you're feeling. And I know that sounds really simple, but so much of the time we ignore that. And there's
Mhm.
so many signs that we continuously ignore because we don't take our emotions seriously.
Exactly. And our emotions are the key to finding our purpose, to finding that career that really makes us feel super fulfilled, because your emotions are connected to your soul. Your soul speaks to you through your emotions and
Mm,
what you feel. You don't hear your soul from your mind. And while it is very important to utilize your mind in practical situations, and the mind is a beautiful tool and you can't discourage the mind, a lot of people, like you said, totally dismiss their emotions and don't even see it as a way to learn. It's about utilizing both the left and the right brain, but also listening to your heart. Your heart has an intelligence that your mind can't comprehend.
yeah,
Uh, and it's about figuring out, what it is that your heart is telling you versus your mind, and seeing what option feels more like expansive for you versus contractive. But when
mm,
your heart, you are listening to your soul and then connecting yourself to your purpose. And so
yeah,
when those emotions come up, and your soul is speaks to you through negative emotions as well, um, it's telling you what it is that you can or cannot tolerate, or what you don't like and what you dislike. So all emotions are messages from the soul. And
mm,
once we fully accept how we feel and recognize, like, oh, okay, this is what's going on and I feel this way about that thing, um, that is where the healing happens. And then
mm,
can fully hear your soul a lot more clearer, a lot louder, and you bring in all of your you strengthen your intuition and you tap into spiritual gifts and just gifts overall that you have when you listen to your soul.
yeah. Such a powerful way to be.
Yeah.
So, what would you say to someone who knows that they have a higher calling and a higher purpose, but like has no idea what it is and feels frustrated by that? And this is something that I went through. And also, it's like a continuous unfolding as well. Because I
Yes.
feel like,
It is.
as you were sharing before we started the recording, is that you're now unlocking all new gifts. And so, yeah, what would you say to someone, firstly, who's just like, I have no idea what it is?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, to say it really quick to that, accepting that your purpose can change and the way you express your purpose can change as you grow, because we're never the same person over time. And we have to grow. I want you to think about it as like unlocking different levels of yourself.
Yeah.
It's just about unlocking that first level, that first step. And To the person who is frustrated, who doesn't feel like they know what it is that they're meant to do, I would really say ask yourself what emotions are you avoiding? You know,
Mm.
what are the shadows of yourself that you are avoiding? What does that look like for you? And I would look into all of your fears, all of your limiting beliefs, all of your anything that holds you back, any beliefs that you have about yourself and what your career like could look like, write them all down. Ask your spirit team what you need to know in regards to these certain fears and these certain living beliefs, your shadows. Like, what do you need to know about this, and what do you need to know to heal it and to move forward?
Yeah.
Um, that is going to start the journey of creating this connection with your spirit guides, with your higher self. It's about practice, because some people have lived an entire lives where they've dismissed their own intuition, their own inner wisdom, but it's always there. It is
Yeah.
always there, and everyone has one. And so it's about kind of working through all of that stuff that disconnects you. So working through like, okay, why is it that I've never been able to take risks in my life? Oh, maybe that's because I, wasn't encouraged to take risks. I'm scared that I'm gonna fail.
Yeah.
Oh,
Self-reflection is such a powerful tool for
yeah,
transformation. And as you can tell from what Ashley's saying here, is that it actually takes unraveling first to actually get where you ultimately want to go. So that can sometimes feel like you're taking a step backwards because you're like digging deeper
yeah,
into things that feel sticky.
yeah.
So be prepared because this journey is
Yeah,
it's not all it's going into the darkness and that's what your program's about.
yeah,
So what's like an example of a purpose? Because I've heard like a range of things from like some teachers I've spoken to are like,
yeah.
like let's not overcomplicate it. Like you are enough just by like going to the toilet. Like that's in itself as a purpose. And other people are like,
Mm,
my purpose is in what I'm serving people with. But
yeah,
then, as you say, like that is subject to change.
yeah.
So, what is the idea of a purpose for you?
For me, it is whatever it is that you do that brings you fulfillment and expansion and allows
Mm,
you to be your true self and operate in this world in the highest, most fulfilling way. Purpose does not have to be a career. Someone's purpose could be, having children, being a
yeah.
mom, um,
And
or
people can have multiple at once, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. You can have multiple purposes at once. It's not meant to be, it's such a broad term, and there's a reason for that. I don't think it's meant to be so limited. It's actually, you know, instead supposed to encourage you to expand as much as possible and see how much you can be in this lifetime based off of what you feel is right for you. And allow yourself to flow and grow and change, and recognize that the way you express your purpose is always going it can change. It doesn't have to be the same. And as we and it's really hard for people to fully be in this, because our society doesn't value flow and
Yeah.
this feminine energy, this feminine way of being. You're not just achieving like success just by doing it the way a man would. They operate on a 24-hour cycle, and they work a 9 to 5, and it works for them, and they're thriving. And if that's something
Mhm.
that you want to do as a woman, absolutely, you can totally do that. But my point is, the our society and the system that we're in is meant to benefit like men. It's meant to benefit men, and it works for men very well. Women can still absolutely do it, but the system created by men, so it works for men.
It's
Oh,
about knowing what works and what doesn't work for you and trusting that whatever you feel is right for you is possible.
yeah,
And this is the next thing I want to talk about is that so many people look at the obstacles of one, let's get real money, and
yeah,
two, time. So people are in a job, they've built their life around the responsibilities that they have. And so sometimes people's lives are so busy that they're like, I don't even have time for self-reflection. I don't even have time to do this. And also, I can't quit my job because I need money. And so I'm sure you get this all the time with your with perspective and clients. And I just want to know how you navigate that and how you walk people through that.
yeah. For my own clients, if I'm working with them, they're dedicated to making this change for themselves. And they need to recognize that it doesn't need to be so much so quick,
Mm,
and it's really about taking the steps that you can in that moment and allowing yourself this time to figure it out and not creating this kind of timeline for yourself because
mm,
then you work against divine timing.
mm,
You work against trusting in the unknown and trusting that the universe is going to serve you and provide for you. And it's a hard thing to do because it's a very feminine energy of just kind of, you're not just you're waiting, yes, but like you are also taking action during it. But it doesn't need to be this like hyper intense, energy all the time. And honestly, when you don't have enough time for self reflection, that's when you need it the most. It's about setting aside like 10 minutes, I'm
Well, this
sure.
is what I say to people too, is that I think people's egos a lot of the time will try to create, and their minds will try to create all these obstacles, but everyone is spending time on their phones.
Yes, exactly.
Everyone is like commuting somewhere and can like listen to a
Yeah,
podcast.
yeah,
I don't think there's anyone who doesn't have time.
right, right. It's about what you're doing in that time, you
Yeah.
know. Um,
Some people might have more of it for sure, but
absolutely,
everyone
absolutely.
has some amount of time.
Yeah.
So, what about the money aspect?
The money aspect in regards to
So,
like,
I guess you kind of answered it by saying that you don't really put a timeline on it. You
yeah,
kind of like advise, not advise, but the people you work with stay in their current jobs until the pathway is clear to then leave it, or like, because
yeah,
many people I feel like would are like, oh, if I had all the money in the world, I would go do this, and
yeah,
they stay in their jobs for the safety aspect.
right. So I think it really depends on the person. I don't think there is anything that any right way. What we learned in the Dharma Coaching Institute is that there are three ways for you to really start taking action into getting into your purpose. One is what the more glamorized way, like taking a leap and just doing it full time, but there are certain pros and cons to each. The pro is that you're going to have all of this time to do this. You can focus on it. The con is that it's going to be a little bit more unstable, a little bit like there's more unknown, less comfortable. And the second way is the transition, which is most people. Most people transition into changing a career that is more purposeful. It's what they do is they have their full time job and then they work on their purpose outside of it. And that the pro is more stability. The con is it can take a little bit more time for you to really um, be able to create this for yourself just because you have a whole other job that you're focusing on as well. And then the third one is the accidental discovery. So you just end up going to a class one day or you're on a trip and someone tells you about this and you're like, wow, let me try it. And then you're like, I have to do this. And you didn't expect it. It just comes to you,
Mhm.
it just came. And so it's about, I don't think there's any right way. I think many people have become successful with all three. It's
Yeah.
about recognizing what fits right for you and what feels good to you, what is more expansive for you and what is more contractive. Do you need that fire, to be put, up your, you know, so that you can be able to make this happen for yourself? Do you need to take that leap? Or do you operate best when you have that steady stability, when you
Mhm.
have that security so that you don't have to worry about it and it allows you to have more mental space for what you do? Really depends on the person, and only you can know that. And you have to trust yourself, that whatever decision you make, you're going to figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Everything has its pros and cons. And so it's just about really listening to yourself. And if that deeper calling is telling you to quit now, you will be held if you listen.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And for me, I always thought I was more risk averse. But when I was a child, looking at how you were as a child says a lot about your true self, because when we're a kid, we're not focusing on any limitations, on any restrictions at all. Um, so when I was a kid, I was fearless. I talked to everybody. I went up to everybody. I wanted to go on adventures. I hated being restricted. I needed my freedom. Um, and I wasn't afraid of anything. It was only that I learned to be fearful, and I think a lot of people are like this. We learn to be scared of things. And I knew that, like, I was very comfortable taking risks all the time when I was a baby and when I was a kid. And so learning that about myself, like, I knew I had to do this full time because I work best under pressure. I needed that. I needed to just I just had the mentality like I have to go all in and I'm gonna make it work. I don't know how. I don't know how long it's gonna take, but I'm dedicated to making this work because this is what I'm meant to do.
Anyone listening who felt like this sparked something in them or, spoke to something, a deeper part of them that they're already aware of or unlocked something, then yeah, reach out to Ashley 'cause she's got an amazing program and she's also now doing some medium readings.
Yes. Yes,
And
I
maybe we can just tap a bit into that, and how that gift became unlocked.
yeah. So this journey of going into coaching and having my intuition guide me in my life has made my intuition so much stronger. And it has just helped me dive into things that I didn't even know were possible for myself. Um, I ended up having an ear surgery um, shortly after I started my coaching business. And this ear surgery, for some reason, I had complications with it for that most people don't. It's not the norm. Usually, it's a very simple, non-invasive surgery. And I noticed, and because of the spiritual community that I'm in, they helped me understand what was going on. Otherwise, I probably would not have even realized what was happening.
Yeah.
Um, After I got the surgery, I started having um, moments of clairaudience, and clairaudience is the intuitive ability to hear things and to receive messages from spirit through hearing. I started to tap into it a lot more, and through the all the like spiritual modalities that I've tried, I have a someone in my coaching institute actually did a psychic surgery on me. She had just realized that she had this gift, and she was like, "Do you want to do a session with me. And I never heard of psychic surgery before. It sounded kind of, I was like, what is that? But I was going through so much like discomfort with my ears that I was like, okay, I've never looked into the spiritual meaning of my ears. So maybe she can help me. And what she does is it's like an energetic surgery. If you're not familiar with psychic surgery, she just works on the energy, you
Hmm.
know, find like what comes up. But if nothing came up for my ears, she wouldn't have said anything about it. It's just what intuitively comes up for
Yeah.
her. And she's just received all of these messages. And um, after that, it was as if I opened some kind of like portal, for myself. And she told me to write down what came through after the surgery. And I immediately started, as I was writing, I went into automatic writing. Automatic writing is, we're getting very, very spiritual here. Automatic writing is when you start writing, but it's not you writing, you're allowing spirit or your higher self or your spirit guides, your spirit team to write. And it's like you just kind of allow your hand to go, to move through. It's a technique we actually learned in Dharma Coaching Institute as well to help people connect to their higher selves. So I just kind of started to write, and
Hmm.
I was hearing, I was hearing like messages from like my spirit team, and um, that's really what started it all. And I spoke to a medium, and a couple mediums, and they're like, yes, like this is mediumship that you're experiencing. Because then it also activated my clairvoyance, which is the intuitive ability to see things, like to have visions and to, premonitions and see things in like your mind's eye and like images of things. With some of my more spiritual clients, I actually even do some mediumship within the container. It goes to show that when you follow your purpose and you're dedicated to it, you open yourself up to so many different
Hmm.
possibilities that do feel magical. Like people live very magical lives. You may not see it because not everyone is doing it all the time, but if you look at the people that you idolize and you want to be like, they live lives that just seem just so incredible. And you can have that too, but it's about believing that you can.
Beautiful. Thanks for sharing it. And yeah, it's so true what you say about the belief piece,
Yeah.
because that's often the only thing in the way, believing that you can have it. Are there any final messages that you're wanting to maybe channel through in this moment?
Let me see. Give me 1 second.
This is fun because people can see how you look when you do it.
I'm hearing to stay strong, and to never give up. Um, collect like data about yourself, and struggle is a part of the journey. I'm hearing, yeah, create the life that you want. And I'm hearing courage. I think I think what spirit is trying to say, is that the whole journey is about being courageous. And when I channel too, like I tilt my head a little bit, uh,
Yeah.
and I can't like move it, because it's a part I'm still it's a part of the it's interesting because my ear surgery, my left ear was the one I was having the most trouble with, and that is where I hear. That is how I
Mm.
hear spirit. And so I had turned my head a little bit to like hear it better, if that makes sense.
Mm.
Um, some as I spoke to a couple mediums, it's been sometimes with the head tilt thing, it can mean, just to for future reference for people, if a medium is like tilting their head way too much, it can mean that they are like ungrounded. It's important to be grounded as a medium, but apparently it's a little bit different from me because of my ear situation. Because I had like an actual ear surgery, and I'm still going through the process of it. Yeah. I keep I keep hearing strength. Um, I think the process of going through of really tapping into your purpose is all about um, diving into like your inner strength and your inner power, and know that, even through the ups and downs, to just tap into that inner strength and resilience. You have a whole team behind you. You have a whole
Yeah.
you have support, and even when you feel alone, you're not you're not alone. You always have guidance. You always have everything that you need. Everything is inside you, and it's calling to you. So if you felt this call, listen to it. Your inner self is always calling to you, and it does it in the most subtle ways. And listen and develop that relationship with spirit. And I'm hearing with like the gods and the goddesses, whoever that resonates with, they're always watching over you. They're always listening to you. They're always here for support. Yeah, they really want to say that. Um, I'm hearing like call me, beat me if you want to reach me.
Call me BB if you want to reach me.
Almost like the to call on them like whenever you want to reach them.
Well, thanks for doing that. I think it's so powerful people to actually see someone in that because one of my last episodes I just posted, it was also with the medium. We were talking about how there is just so much fear about it. And so many people don't even get to see what it's like to have one
Yeah.
because they would never like do one themselves. So
Yes.
hopefully this like shows you like it's so powerful and it's so real.
And
Yeah.
it's tough because it requires the person to be open, but I think a lot of people have dealt with, really, scammy mediums and just like weird energy overall with mediums. And so it's really about trusting what you feel about the medium. If it feels authentic to you, you don't have to take all of their messages to heart, or you don't have to take everything that they say. Um, just take what resonates and trust yourself.
Yeah. And it's so important what you say of like just take what resonates because spirit always wants you to know that you are your own best teacher, your own best guide. And so it's all about the wisdom within. And every episode I do like comes back to the name of the podcast that it's all about self-awareness and coming back to yourself because you are divine, all of you,
Yes,
all of us.
all divine. Yeah, we're all mediums actually to help with the fear. We all have the ability to hear and channel. It's like a radio frequency. Um,
Yeah.
you tap into that frequency, and some people are tapped in, and some people are on a different frequency. We all have these intuitive abilities, and the more we listen to our intuition and our inner self, um, the more grounded, the more secure and anchored and um, strong we feel, because we're secure
Mm.
in ourselves. We
Yeah.
have a stronger identity, and we're actually grounded into this earth by connecting to the cosmos and
Yeah.
the universe. So
We're all so powerful, and the reason why we're not all doing this right now is because of how blocked off we are
yeah,
from our intuition and all our gifts. And so, yeah, it takes some unraveling and some discipline to come back to our gifts, but that's a beautiful journey to take. And I believe it's why we're actually in the 3D world. So don't fear that journey, but just go into it. So yeah,
yeah,
thank you so much for being here. It's been so nice to catch up and talk and hear all about your journey and your gifts. And yeah,
yeah.
I'm so
Thank
grateful to know you. And yeah, so much love.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I truly, truly appreciate it. And this was absolutely amazing. And yeah, if anyone is interested in the OWL program or mediumship readings, you can find me on Instagram at Ashley alchemist. And I'm so happy to be here and to talk about this. And thank you for creating this space.
You can just feel Ashley's, she's so authentic and real and has such a beautiful heart. I can feel it. So yeah, definitely go support what she's doing and also change your life through what she's doing too while you're at it. Wow. After editing this, I just had the feeling of there's just so much value in this episode. We went through so many different topics, and I really believe that everyone should listen to this episode because when we live out of alignment in our careers, we are living out of alignment of our soul calling, and this is what leads to dis-ease. Dis-ease because we're living in an inner division. We're living in a dissatisfaction because we know that we are meant for more and we're meant for something different, and yet our life does not line up to what our soul knows is best for us. So I hope this episode inspires you to take a leap into even considering the possibility of living your dream life. And I really hope to hear from you guys about what you learned from this episode. And I always love hearing from you all anyway. So get in touch. I'm back on grid now, and I can't wait to hear from you all. Bye.